Surah 2 verse 222 and 223 declares, keep away from women in their causes and do not approach them until they are clean. But when they have purified themselves, you may approach them in any manner, time or place ordained for you by Allah. Your women are a tilt for you to cultivate, so go to your tilt as you will. If that sounds like an allowance of marital sexual assault, well, that's exactly what it is.
Yani, Mr. Lai, how do you read this and immediately this is what comes to your mind? Wallahi, this is ajib. How derailed, how dirty, how sick in the mind do you have to...
To all my Yoruba women, yes, so Yoruba women, those women are blessed, okay? God bless them with Ikebe Super, also known as Yash, also known as Botox.
Stop it. Get some help.
Anyways, the verses are clear. This verse and the one before it were revealed when the people asked about something. It's evident in the first verse as it starts with the يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْمَهِيدِ. They ask you about menstruation. And in the second verse, if you open any tafsir
Like Tasfir al-Kutubi,
you will see that it says that these verses were revealed because the Jews in Medina used to claim that if anyone had sexual relations with his wife from behind, then they will give birth to a child that is cross-eyed. So Allah revealed these verses.
but guess what? Surah 23 verse 1 to 6. Successful indeed are the believers, those who humble themselves in prayer, those who avoid idle talk, those who pay alms tax, those who guard their chastity except with their wives or those bondwomen in their possession. For them they are free from blame. Yes, you just read the words of Allah, giving the green light for masters to have non-consensual intercourse with their slave girls, just like they did with their wives.
Non-consensual intercourse? Ya Jahil, Ya Kadhab, where did you get that? Where does it say that? Please, Mr. Lai fanboys, I hope you can see this. This guy is a liar. He doesn't know anything. Where does it say non-consensual intercourse, Mr. Lai? Come on, Mr. Lai. There is no such thing as marital rape in Islam. If a woman deprives her husband of sexual relations for no good reason and she makes him go to sleep angry with her because of that, then she is sinful because she is taking away from the rights of a husband, and according to this hadith, the angels will curse her, and that is it. And Ibn Hajar comments on this hadith saying this is it. It ends there. The husband has no right. It gives him no permission to do anything to her. And the woman also has this right over the husband. It's like if a husband chooses not to provide for his wife while he can, of course he is sinful because he is taking away from the rights of his wife. It's that simple, Mr. Lai.
And Muhammad, the role model of all Muslims, was famous for having his way with his slave girls. Even Allah commanded him to do so according to Surah 33 verse 50. O Prophet, we have made lawful for you your wives, to whom you have paid their full dowries, and those bondwomen in your possession who Allah has granted you.
Honestly, this is tiring, man. I've already made a video about this, but because of you, Mr. Lai, and because of your viewers who I hope are sincere, I'll go over it again. The phrase in the Quran translated as bondswoman is milk al-yamin. Milk al-yamin, possessions of the right hand. Now, the trick that Mr. Lai and other enemies of Islam try to do is they try to equate milk al-yamin to the slavery that we know, the Western slavery, the pan-Atlantic slavery. And these are not the same thing. And I will show you. First of all, Western slavery is taking free men going to their country and taking them as slaves, as captives. And this is non-existent in Islam. In fact, Rasulullah, he says that on the day of judgment, he will be against 3 people. And one of those people is someone who took a free man and sold him. Now, the only way someone can become a quote-unquote slave, a milk al-yamin, is through war. War, Mr. Lai, battle. I know you know nothing about that. So basically, there are prisoners of war. When you go into a battle and you're done fighting and you win the war, you take the people who have come to kill you, you take them with you as prisoners of war. This is standard practice. Islam didn't invent this. The only difference is Allah gave these people rights. And as I said, the people that are taken as milk al-yamin are the people who came to the war with you. Not that you entered the city and go and take people who are in their homes and take them as slaves. La, this is not permissible. La yajuz. And there are many options. The leader of the Muslims, he is the one who chooses what to do with these milk al-yamin. He can ransom them to the opposition for some Muslim captives on the other side. He can ransom them for weapons or money. Or he can free them totally, just like Rasulullah did in the conquest of Mecca. He came to Mecca and he said to them, you are free. Why don't you talk about that, Mr. Lai? Why don't you talk about that, Mr. Lai? That is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Now back to the topic. The last option is you can take them as milk al-yamin, possessions of the right hand. And how did Allah and His Messenger tell us to treat these milk al-yamin? Rasulullah, he said that these people are your brothers. They are not your slaves. They are your brothers who Allah has put in your control. Rasulullah, he said to feed them from what you eat and clothe them from what you wear, and not to overburden them with work. And if you do overburden them with work, then you have to help them. Rasulullah, he said, don't hit a slave. And if you do hit a slave, you have to free them. Rasulullah, he said that whoever accuses a slave of something that he did not do, that he is innocent of, that he will be flogged, he will be whipped on the day of resurrection. Milk al-Yamin in Islam can work and ransom themselves. In fact, you're not even allowed to call them your abd, your slave, because we are all abd of Allah. So you take these people under your care and you have rights to them and they have rights to you. And for the bondswomen in your possession, you have a right over them as long as you fulfill their right over you. Allah has given you the right to have sexual relations with them. And this is not prostitution. You only have your right over your own slave, not with everybody's slave. But you are not allowed to force yourself on a slave. You can't even hit a slave. If you hit a slave, you have to free them. Then imagine trying to claim that Islam allows you to grape them. In fact, there was a situation in the time of Rasulullah where a man forced himself on his wife's slave. And Numan ibn Bashir, he said, I will judge him with the judgment of Rasulullah. If his wife had allowed this, I will give him 100 lashes. And if his wife had not allowed this, I would stone him to death for forcing himself on a slave woman. So what are you saying, Mr. Lai? You don't know anything. I hope your fanboys are watching. I hope your fanboys are watching as I expose you, because you know nothing about the Islamic discourse. You know nothing, but you come here and you talk fast and you put a couple news articles in the back and you think you look smart. You're not. You're not intellectual.
D, thank you for the 4,000